I think a client has no idea how much time I spend sourcing and finding the right product. They think that I Google search it and I have it in 5 minutes, right? That they don't know that I could spend hours, days trying to find that sideboard that is the exact length, not 1 inch too long, not 1 inch too short, not too narrow. And they'll never know that. I mean, I can tell them, they wouldn't believe me if I told them how long it took.
Hey kids, Darla Powell here, and I want to invite you over to our YouTube channel designed by Wingnut Social. We're having a very special live episode on May 28th at 2 p.m. with the Style Spotters at High Point Market. We're going to be interviewing Rashida Gray, Evan Millard, and Jennifer Marlowe, who are all Style Spotters this year at High Point, and asking them about what that looks like. What is a Style Spotter? How has that helped them with their marketing, about their business, their expertise? Super interesting episode. And again, live. So when you're over there in the chat, you can ask them all of your questions. I'm basically moderating a live panel on our YouTube channel. So head on over there, designed by Wingnut Social on YouTube. Find the little live video coming soon and hit that little notification button to remind you when it goes live. But we'll see you there. Hey kids, and welcome to Design by Wingnut Social, the live edition. This is our very first live, so you are on the ground floor of greatness here as I'm joined by High Point Market's 2025 Style Spotters for the whole year. They do this in spring, they do this in fall. What the hell is a Style Spotter? We're sure going to find out. So join me as I welcome our 3 Style Spotters. Here we have Evan Millard, Rashida Gray, and Jewel Marlowe. Hi guys, thank you so much for joining. I really do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So what I'd like to do is to help the audience just to get a feel of who you are if they've been living under a rock, right? Because you guys are out there and everywhere and super high-end interior designers and very popular, is just go one by one and just briefly introduce yourself, who you are, what you do. And let's start with you, Rashida.
Thanks so much, Darla. So Rashida Gray. Company is Gray Space Interiors. We're based out of Philadelphia. Been in business for almost 10 years now, 9 years this February. And, I come to design as a second career designer. Prior to this, I spent 15 years in marketing and business development.
That's so amazing that you've come to design as a second career. And I want to get into that in a minute. But let's see. Evan Millard. Tell us all about you.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. My name is Evan Millard, like you said. My business is named Millard after my last name. I am based in Nashville, Tennessee, and so I have projects all over. I've personally owned my own business for 7 years, so just celebrated 7 years.
Congrats to you. And last but certainly not least, Jewel Marlowe.
Yeah, thanks. Jewel Marlowe, and I'm based in the D.C. area, which is Virginia, Maryland, D.C. And I'm currently doing a show house in New York, which is a little bit out of my realm of geography, but that'll be fun. And my designs are usually based on a lot of glamour and color and soul.
I love that. We're neighbors. I'm in Maryland also.
Oh,
I'm down
are?
south in Leonardtown. Yeah, we are not far. I get up to DC every now and then.
There you go. We should do lunch.
We're down the street from each other.
Are we? Where are you?
I'm in Philly, but,
Oh, okay.
technically.
Yeah. I'm going to Philadelphia in a month or so. We'll
Oh.
have to hang out and have
We
some
should.
coffee. or something.
Coffee.
All right. So, let's talk about Style Spotters. So, for the uninitiated, again, that rock must be very crowded. High Point Market is the premier furnishings market for the interior design industry in, wait for it, High Point, North Carolina. And if you haven't been, I highly recommend that you go. But when I went, my first time I went back in, I want to say 2018, as a brand new designer. I had just opened up my firm and I was so overwhelmed. I was like, everything was just, it's a lot. It is huge and a lot. And it was very difficult to get the lay of the land. But it was kind of a reconnaissance mission to go and to see and to network with the vendors and to meet other interior designers and to get that mentorship and learn about the interior design business. But I didn't know at the time, I'm not even sure if it existed in 2018, that High Point Market has these tools and these groups to help interior designers navigate that overwhelm. One is, if you listen to today's episode with Elizabeth Scruggs, she's a High Point Market Insiders, which is, I guess, another branch of the High Point Kids Club, right? Where she helps interior designers navigate that. But you guys are doing the style spotters, and God help me, I am not exactly sure what that is or what you guys do. So I guess let's just start by saying what exactly is a style spotter and let the audience know what that looks like for them. And we'll dig in. Who wants to start? Let's go with Evan.
Yeah, so for the Style Spotters program, it's really a select group of designers that are asked to participate. And then from there, we're kind of tasked with creating maybe a theme around what our tours might look like that we're hosting. And those tours would include maybe 2, 3, maybe 4 different showrooms. So for my tour, it was specifically titled Carefully Crafted Products. And so I took my team tour through like 2 or 3 different showrooms, and we specifically looked at items that were carefully crafted and kind of went back to the soul of each business. And then in addition to that, we are always encouraged to go live and to post on social media. We also selected 5 different products that really just kind of caught our eye, which I think was such a wonderful thing. And all of that material will kind of roll out as the markets continue throughout the year.
Oh, so it's a curated tour based on you, your ethos, your aesthetic for your
Definitely.
firm.
I kind of say Style Spotters is like, I guess we're like tastemakers for this market. So we are charged with selecting the newest and latest and greatest and most innovative products. This market, we selected 5. Pre-market, we selected 3. And then High Point reports on all of those. And then in addition, like Evan said, we have a hotspot tour where we do like a selection of showrooms that we take designers, any designer, and be on the hotspot tour.
So does this, and I'll ask you this one, Jewel. So is this something that you found a lot of interior designers are taking advantage of to help navigate what showroom should I look at? How do I negotiate speaking to the vendors or seeing what my cost is or finding items for my clients? Is this something that is a tool for that?
I hope so. That's the goal. I think what's really neat about this program is that each one of us kind of have our own unique take on design, our own style. And so it would be easy for someone who's new or trying to get the lay of the land to think, oh, my style aligns with Evan or Jewel or whoever. And then I'm going to track that person and see what things they're pointing at, what showrooms they're highlighting, because maybe that's where I need to stop by as well.
So that's terrific. If you're an interior designer and you go to High Point and they just happen to be fans of yours, they can really just kind of get an insider's look of what that looks like when you're at market. That is super, super cool. I love that. So when we're dealing with the vendors, right, to your Evan, you said that you pick certain vendors and you're taking the team through there. How are the vendors, helping to market the Style Spotters or your firms? Is that a collaboration? Is that a quid pro quo kind of situation?
I would say with a couple of the showrooms that I used for my tour, we actually ended up going on and kind of like going live on their Instagram feeds, which was really great. So then again, there was an introduction of me and my firm, and then again, some of my favorite pieces from their showroom, which is a lot of fun. So it was really a great experience.
I love. Has anyone else had that same experience with the vendors doing the live on Instagram or what have you?
I didn't go live, but we did personalized videos that they could use as content for later.
Yeah.
That I used it on my end and they used it on their end or vice versa. So I've tried to make sure that we got photography and some video options for them.
And I'm sure, Rashida, you can speak to this as well. Having that kind of collaboration and having a vendor share you as a brand or you as a personality or as an influencer, that just super helps to grow your brand reach and awareness and help to grow the exposure for your firm. That's a win-win. It doesn't really get much better than that.
Yeah, no, I think it's definitely a win-win, both for what I would call like internal industry-based marketing. So marketing to other manufacturers and other industry folks, as well as external to potential clients.
How does somebody sign up for a Style Spotter situation if they're in the audience and they're listening and they want to hang out with you, Rashida? What do they have to do?
So definitely go to the High Point Market website. There's so many different options for a Style Spotter tour, which is actually called Hotspot. And actually, we're not the only ones that offer a hotspot. There's other designers that offer hotspots. But when you think about tours, there's actually two main types. There's the Insiders Tour, which is a full day or half day, and then Hotspot Tour. Hotspot Tour is given by one of us or another designer, and it's based on a certain category. So this year, my Hotspot Tour was around art. Last market, my hotspot tour was around lighting. And so just go to the High Point Market website.
All right. It doesn't get much easier than that. All right. So what was your motivation or inspiration for pursuing becoming a style spotter for you as a person, as a brand? Talk me through that.
Kind of like Rashida mentioned that she as well. There are a lot of different opportunities at High Point, and I've done many of them. Style Spotters is, in my opinion, the best of the opportunities. It's the most exclusive. And so once I felt like I'd done checked all the other boxes, I thought, well, might as well apply. The worst that could happen is they say no. And I was surprised to find out that I was selected. So that was a neat opportunity. Yeah, I do think it helps my brand. And I want to tell a quick story real fast if it's okay.
Yeah. Take your time.
Yeah, it reminded me when we were just talking about doing these videos. I was at Chaddock and I saw a piece of furniture that I really liked, and it was a Mark Sykes piece. And they're like, actually, he's here. Do you want to interview him? So he came around the corner and I got to do like a 2-minute interview with Mark Sykes. No big deal. What a cool opportunity, right?
Yeah, just Mark Sykes. No big deal. My claim to fame, I met Candace Olsen.
Oh, there you go.
I have a picture of me with her and I cherish it.
That's great.
When I was younger, she was my influence to get into doing interior design. So I love that so much. So if someone wanted to apply to be a style spotter, you did say it was one of the more exclusive things. What kind of hoops do you have to jump through? Who wants to take that one?
There's an application. I think it's a pretty intense application, but you fill out the application. And then I think, of course, what you've done prior to style spotting, how often you've attended High Point Market, sort of any other influence that you've had on sharing trends in design and things of that sort are important. But that's what I remember. Evan, Jewel, do you remember anything outside of the application?
No, I feel like they were looking for things that go above and beyond just the standard day-to-day design work. Like you mentioned, influence of any sort. I know she's done TV. I've done a little TV. Experience in front of a camera, experience if your social media is strong, that helps. I don't want to speak for them. I don't know what they're looking for exactly, but it seems like that's been a common theme that Evan's done a lot of show houses, a lot of publicity, that type of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, I think just being able to share what sets you apart as a designer and what makes you different. And even if you have a different take or a different perspective on design, include it. It can't, you can receive is a no, right? So why not try?
I actually got a no before. So I did not get it on my first time.
How dare they?
How dare they? No, actually, it was very much, everything happens for a reason and in the right timing. So if you get a no, figure out maybe why or what the others, the folks that got a yes, what's different, and then apply again.
One thing that I've noticed about each of you is each of you have a signature style, right? You're not cookie cutter, out of the box, white, gray interior designers. You all have that positioning, that differentiation factor in your style that says, this is an Evan Millard design, or this is Rashida Gray, or this is Jewel Marlowe. How important do you think it is to own a niche for your interior design style? And the reason I ask that is because a lot of interior designers are kind of fearful of narrowing their design focus to a particular aesthetic or to make it, authentic to them in a way that they feel that they're going to lose mass appeal and they're going to lose that audience. But when instead, it really helps to drive their business, right? The niche is what really differentiates you and makes you special. Do you find do you think that was an important factor?
Perhaps. It's hard to know for sure if that's what they're looking for, but it does seem like it worked out like that. I do agree with you, though, that I think it's helpful to have a unique style. A lot of that depends on what your clients like. But I think when you get to a certain point, your clients are coming to you for a certain style. And I think that's self-fulfilling and helpful.
Yeah, so let me dig into that a little bit. So that is like the next echelon of becoming a high-end interior designer or a sought-after interior designer is niching down into that. Do any of you have the experience of maybe you had a broader, scattershot with your interior design when you're starting and then had that aha moment where, you know what? No, this is the Rashida Gray. This is what I'm going to do. And people are going to come to me for that.
I never get those like aha moments, but I will say, like people say, I had this life-changing event. That hasn't happened to me, but it has happened organically. So when I started designing, I would sort of just try to figure out what my style is. I know what I'm naturally attracted to, but to Jules' point, like our clients really have a heavy influence on what the end result looks like. But I think over time, what has happened is, and this is because of not only client projects, but also show houses, other sort of initiatives that allow me to get a bit creative, like design on dime, et cetera. I've sort of figured out what I love more, and I put that forward in my marketing. So to answer your question, I think I still struggle with, do I have a specific aesthetic? But if it is there and I do see it developing, it's organic as opposed to putting the nail in a coffin and saying, this is exactly what my look will be, because we are running a business at the end of the day. And as often as, as much as I love to say, this is what I love, it's my client and their home that's important to me. So
how about you, Jewel or Evan?
I actually started out with social media. And so my social media presence was established in the beginning before I started taking on clients. And then people started coming to me asking for my signature look. So that has been there from the get-go for Jewel Marlowe. I've never had to do off-brand client homes. Once or twice I've got to do a neutral home, which is in so many ways more challenging than doing this big maximalist bold color. I mean, just because it was a little bit out of my, the way my brain thinks. It's always fun to have a challenge. So I actually appreciate those projects. But generally, if you want a white room, you're probably not going to come to Jewel Marlowe. You're going to go to somebody else. If you want something that's colorful with a lot of pattern and a lot of personality, you'll consider me.
How about you, Evan?
I actually think as well, like, kind of going back to what Rashida said with just saying yes to opportunities, including show houses. I just wrapped up my 6th. And I think that going through the process and going through it solo, alone as like an individual designer has been so helpful just in learning, because I can love everything. We're designers. We can love every aesthetic, and just really honing in and realizing what makes me happy. And then I look back on the past show houses and I'm like, here's where I had complete freedom. And here are the ones that make me smile the biggest. And so for me, those are the most impactful.
And that's the best, right? To get clients who seek you out for work that you actually enjoy doing, right? I think that's a terrific marriage. So I love that you all are in different stages of that. That's terrific. I did have a question going back. This just popped to me. And by the way, I also have hot spots, but it's because I'm 57.
Well, you don't look it, man.
Great.
Thank you. I have my fan on over here. I had to turn on my menopause fan. Okay, so we're all interior designers, and our ideal client is probably not other interior designers, right? So what is the strategy behind doing something so visible that's helpful to other interior designers from a marketing standpoint, right? Because your ideal client isn't necessarily the focus of the High Point Market Style Spotters situation. Let's start with you, Jewel.
I mean, I feel like you're obviously right. The people that see me post on Instagram about High Point, if they're not interior designers, I have to explain to them what it is, or it makes no sense to them. It feels irrelevant. But I think the thing that we gain by being style spotters, like so many opportunities, is just, first of all, experience, visibility, and I don't know if the word clout is correct, but your resume. It just builds your resume. It's just a thing you've done, and the connections that they're making as you're doing it. So do those directly transfer over to finding your dream client? Maybe not directly, but I think indirectly, yes.
Yeah. Evan?
Gosh, I think that with style spotting, you actually like with the channels of social media. I would think that we are connecting with potential clients because we are showing pieces that resonate with us or selections that resonate with us and are meaningful. And I remember like in just a couple of months ago doing style spotting and finding these pieces, and people would respond back and be like, "Oh, I love this piece." And so I think once we're in front of our potential clients and clients like repeatedly over and over and over again, we do, like Jewel said, we build clout, we build legitimacy, we start to build that relationship and that connection with people. And they, those might be our future clients.
That's a good point. Rashida?
I definitely agree with Jewel and Evan that it's positioning you as a subject matter expert. I had a client say, "Oh, you're like doing really big things at High Point Market." And I was like, "Oh, you notice?" But the other part is for myself and for Gray Space Interiors, I am building a brand. And so my brand is multifaceted. Of course, there's the design firm, but I also would love to have, I'm going to put in the atmosphere, a product line someday. And so I'm building the brand with vendors and manufacturers through programs like this. And yeah, so I think it depends on what your goals are in terms of marketing.
I love that. And that's a great point I'd like to touch on. So a lot of interior designers want those licensing deals or want to build their own product or build their own brands. And I think, I mean, I haven't done this, that this would be a terrific foot in the door for getting in there and having an intimate relationship with these vendors, with the, the oversight of High Point Market. Here's our style spotter. It's really kind of a big deal, right? So have any of you, besides, I guess, Rashida, you're leveraging that now. Have any, Evan or Joel, have you done licensing or brand deals? Is that something that you want to put your foot in?
I'm early phases.
Okay, early phases.
Early phases, exploring options. And I do think that style spotting helped. I think these were developing before I was chosen to be a style spotter. But I think that it helps position me to give me the confidence, first of all, to be able to ask for things, and for other companies to have the confidence in me. So I think I think it is helpful.
How about you, Evan?
Yeah, I'm working with a plumbing company right now on a collection. So that's coming out hopefully very soon. And then just through, I would say, with marketing and networking and just building relationships, I actually met the great people at Paragold. And I've just said yes to everything that's ever come my way. And so 5 designers were selected to design vignettes in their upcoming stores. So our first store opens next month.
Oh,
so
wow.
I'm so excited.
That's congrats. So what is that with Paragold? Are you designing things for them? Are you an influencer for them? What does that look like?
Like I said, 5 designers were selected. We each had to submit 5 to 7 room designs, basically. And then from there, they determined, I think we each have 3 to 5 within each store. And so the first store, we used vendors that are on Paragold, and they were like a carefully curated, like by collection and by type of furniture. And then we basically built these rooms from scratch, and we got, we were able to see the walkthroughs, like physical walkthroughs. And I think it's June. I think the grand opening party is either the 16th or the 18th of June. And so it'll be in Houston.
That is so very cool. All right. So let's talk a bit about the marketing piece. And Rashida, I love that you have a marketing background, and that happens a lot. I've interviewed a lot of interior designers on the podcast. We have like over 460 episodes or something like that. And a lot of marketing people are changing their careers and becoming interior designers. I went backwards. I did interior designer and became marketing. But I love that you've done this as a second career, right? So let's give some marketing tips to the interior designers on there and keep the style spotters in our hat if we want those licensing deals and to network at High Point. And we will get back to that maybe. But I'd like to know, let's start with the social media marketing standpoint. What is the most effective platform and strategy that you use for your social media marketing? I almost said Instagram because that's the number one. Spoiler alert. Let's start with Rashida.
Certainly, Instagram is my go-to platform. Not to forget about Facebook and maybe TikTok, but I haven't gotten into it yet. But yeah, I would say Instagram. And for me, it's consistency. I have a few tips along the way, like, partner and brand collaborations help to boost your visibility. things like that, which I've done a ton of those over the years from Home Depot to Kichler Lighting, you name it. And television helps with boosting visibility. So I think what my main takeaway is that social media is one part of the marketing strategy, not the entire strategy. And my biggest tip, okay, I said that already, but here's my second biggest: find your audience. Where does your audience hang out? Do they like Instagram? Do they like Facebook? Are they on TikTok? And market there.
Are you finding Facebook to be effective for you at all? Because, Wingnut Social is a digital marketing agency for interior designers, and Instagram, 99% of the effect and of the marketing happens from Instagram. There's some LinkedIn for commercial designers, but Facebook is a lot of crickets lately. Not even lately, in the last few years. It's not been as effective. It's a good business card. It's a good placard to have there for your design business, I suppose. But have you been getting any traction from your Facebook?
Engagement is low, but I do feel like there are people who are loyal supporters on Facebook, and they will share. I think it's the age bracket, right?
Yeah.
And so it's very interesting. The last 6 months or so, we've been getting a lot of downsizing folks, like early 60s, kids are out the house, they're relocating. And so I'm pretty sure they're using Facebook as a way to get to know us better.
Yeah. Evan, what's your go-to platform?
Instagram as well. And I think, like Rashida said, with consistency, it's consistency with posting, but I also think it would pertain to aesthetics and the type of font that you use and then what is consistently shown, to our audiences.
Yeah, for sure. It's important to be consistent. I love that you mentioned the fonts, because I'll see interior designers or brands in general who'll have a post with one font and then the next day a post with a different font or a different kind of aesthetic, and the cohesiveness is lost. So that is super important because it represents you as a brand and how you show attention to detail, in those things. And you might not think it's important, but when people are vetting you as an interior design firm, little things like that speak volumes. Jewel, what is your favorite platform and why is it Instagram?
Yeah. I started on Instagram, so that is home to me. I'm interested to see with the new algorithm changes how it shakes things up. I'm noticing, I don't know about you guys, that I'm having a little bit less engagement in the last couple of posts now that they've changed things around. And I'm excited to see workarounds for that and to find ways to build that back up. But yeah, Instagram is where my people are. That's where I've always gotten all my business. I've never had to never advertise on Instagram. Maybe I will start.
You don't need to. I mean, if you don't need to, you don't need to. All right. So advertising works a lot for newer designers who want to bridge that gap for the organic growth. And I want to go back to what you mentioned, that you said that you started your Instagram first and you built up a healthy baseline of following before you even opened your interior design firm or started working with clients. Was that intentional?
No, life works in mysterious ways.
It's brilliant. A brilliant accident.
No, it's funny. It has been a blessing. It really has. Blessing and a curse sometimes when I've had to learn lessons the hard way. But now to be at this point where I feel like I've learned a lot of the hard lessons already, it's opened up a lot of opportunities that if I would have gone the traditional route, probably wouldn't be there in the however many 7 years or so that I've been doing this. So
yeah, you can't beat Instagram. It is a game changer. And there's a lot of interior designers out there who are like, oh, I tried marketing on social media. I posted on Instagram for a month. I didn't get any clients, right? So to your point, Rashida and Evan, consistency, it's a long game, right? There's an organic growth factor there, and you have to do it strategically and with intention and with your positioning in there. And I love hearing you say that you get most of your clients from Instagram, because it does, if you're doing it and you're doing it right, it absolutely does happen. So I love to hear that. I want to ask you, Evan, about brand mentions. And if anyone else wants to answer this, I'll let you guys do that as well. So another thing that some interior designers love to do, some hate to do, is to, like, if they're doing show house is different, but if they're doing a project, is tagging brands for products or furnishings used in that, because their approach is, my client paid X amount of money for this. I want to keep this close to the vest. I really don't want to reveal this to my audience. I want to keep that sacred. But doing brand collaborations and tagging each other and having that synergy and that collaboration can do amazing things for you and your brand and your growth and your reach and your awareness, and to help posts and, you as an influencer go viral. I'd like to hear your thoughts on that, Evan.
Yeah, so for brand tagging, I would say I've definitely gone back and forth. It's always something that's kind of like rolling around in my head. But I will say with it being client facing, I just try to be very, very clear in all of my agreements and contracts with my clients. Like, this is the markup.
Smart.
And this is what I deliver. And this is what it covers. And so this way there are no surprises, and I can open up my books at the end of the project and they can see it all. And it just seems to work.
So you're including, hey, when we do your project, I might be tagging, this vendor in there, or I'm doing photography. It's going to be on social. You'll be anonymous. Don't worry about it, kind of thing.
Yeah, that's definitely all included. But I think also just protecting like what my markup is and being very clear with that, like it's net plus X, Y, and Z, whatever that percentage is, makes a big difference. And I'm stopping any questions that can really come up and be asked.
Yeah, I love that. That saves a lot of headache. Rashida, how about you? Are you tagging brands? Sounds like it.
I am, but very intentionally and thoughtfully. And so, you're right. Our clients do pay for the IP for us to decorate their homes in our time. And so I don't want to give away the farm, but I do tag the brands that I think will have the most impact. So for example, if I use a 4-hand side table, I may know that is also sold at XYZ retailer. I will tag that retailer so that I can get exposure from them, because 4Hands is talking to other designers. I want to talk to other potential clients. So yeah, I do tag, but very intentionally and minimally.
Yeah, you don't have to tag all of them, right? Some of the stuff you can keep, especially if it's like one-offs or super curated piece, or, that seems to be the things that, those signature pieces, right? That are like, oh no, you have to hire me, kind of thing. But bigger brands, like you just mentioned, 4Hands. I mean, that's pretty a widely used brand. There's nothing really like proprietary or secretive about 4Hands for sure.
I'll take that question if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. Go.
A couple things. I feel very comfortable when I'm doing tags in my own house. And so I think as designers, we often try to use our houses as a calling card. And so that's awesome when you're using things in your own house and you can collaborate with any brand. In fact, I'm doing it's called Finza, and it's with Fabricut, and we're going to have ready-mades that are shoppable for the client that can't afford a designer but wants a designer look. And so I've curated things from Fabricut that will be in my collection, and they can shop it and
awesome.
Get an ottoman in one of these few fabrics that Jewel approves, right? So I'm trying to use a show house and my own house for that one, because I don't feel any weirdness about those are things that I can control. I, at this point, do occasionally still very rarely, we'll say very rarely, do receive sponsored product that I put into a client's home. And like Evan said, I'm honest about markup, or I give him at a discount, because then I can say, are you okay with receiving this at a discount? And then I can use the images to promote this product. Usually clients always said, yes, I'll take the discount. I think they always figure they're going to be on social media in some form or another anyway. And so, yes, they take the discount. And that's nice, actually, because then they feel buy-in when it's time to do the photo shoot, because it's like they got something out of it, right? So maybe one thing per client, not the whole room sponsored. But for example, I did a collaboration with Art Star, and we did 2 pieces of art in the house, but they got to use the rest of the home as well. And I was going to be shooting the home. The client was then okay with shooting the home, and they got art at a deep discount for it. So that worked out well.
So if you're doing a project this for a client, then we don't have this, you're going to get a discount, it's sponsored, but I've used, let's just say for the sake of argument, 4Hands, or you're not going to tag when you post those on social media, you wouldn't tag that 4Hands on a client's.
Still put a tag on, but I don't do, unless the client's in on it. I don't do like, here's a home tour that's going to show up on your page, on this company's page, and it's going to have all these details and yada, yada, yada. But if it's, okay, Schumacher drapes and Cravat whatever and Stark carpet, I'll tag those, sure. I'll put a little tag on it, and maybe it gets picked up, or maybe it gets a like from the other company. I don't really know as I go to do that how that's going to be received.
A reshare is the best.
Yeah, a reshare in the stories. That happens often.
Yeah, that's great.
And to be honest, I mean, folks can do visual searches. If they really wanted to know the source of what we're using, they can do a visual search. So I think it's a little less taboo nowadays.
And I think what we're offering as interior designers is customization. So yes, I'm using, say, Schumacher drapes, but I've taken them to the workroom. We've made them especially to the length of their windows, and it's very custom, right? It's not something that they can go out and buy. So seeing a Schumacher tag on there it doesn't matter to me. I'm fine with that. I'm fine that they know that I work with quality products. That's absolutely okay with me.
They're not going to go to Home Depot and pick up Schumacher.
No.
You don't have to worry about that for sure. So I want to get back to you, Evan, because you had mentioned you have your agreements in the beginning and you have full transparency. And when it comes to the marketing piece and we're getting to the photo shoot, we're doing photography and we're putting that on social, do you ever have any pushback or any issues from your clients saying, no, I just don't want my home on social, or is that squashed with your agreement? Do you ever acquiesce to that?
I have not. It's included that I have the right to photograph every project, and I have not, keep my fingers crossed, I have not had any pushback whatsoever.
What would you do if they said, no, we want to hire you, we love your work, but we just insist?
Then it would just be a private project.
Okay.
It would be a private project and no one would ever know. Or maybe I may try to do just really detailed shots. Maybe I use it on social media and it's not full rooms to where you can identify a particular location or home. And maybe I just kind of rework the contract to include that.
Little vignettes, things
yeah.
like that. Yeah. Yep. Go ahead, Rashida.
I was just going to say, it is the way that we market, right? Our business is heavily visual. And so if there is a client who says no, and I respect their privacy, especially if it's a public figure, then maybe there's just a little bit of, I don't know, some sort of compensation for that because we're not able to.
Oh, I like that. Tell me more about that.
A markup.
This is genius. I perked up. I'm like, oh, okay. So like a little bit of an offset, right? Because when we're designing spaces, part of the marketing arm, high-end photography or a really good photographer who knows what they're doing, they are not cheap. That is an investment. And we want to turn that around. We want to put that in our portfolio on our websites. We want to put that in social. We want to do all the things, right? Because to build our brand. So I kind of like that you're building in an offset.
I don't think I'm
is that a quiet one?
Yeah, it's a quiet way. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think it's, to be fair, it's the way that we market our businesses. And so if they are public in that way and I respect it, I'm sure, the added cost to be sure that we can do that is fine. And also we always say, like you said, you're anonymous. We'll never tag where you live. Even if you're sensitive about the town that you live in, we won't even mention that kind of thing. So
the NDA clients are just waiting to be on Architectural Digest.
Yes.
They're holding out for that one. Jewel, you looked like you wanted to add
Rashida,
something.
I was actually thinking how fun that would be. It's maybe a bad idea, but in our contract, if we started with that, and then if you allowed the social media, then you get the discount, right?
There you
start with
go.
that added. Oh, for you, we'll give you the Instagram discount.
I love it.
Yeah, that could be an angle for sure.
The opposite happens, though. There are times where I won't post a project.
Yeah.
Because even if it is, great work, I'm proud of it, but it's not sort of the marketing direction I'm trying to take my firm, and I won't post it. And I feel bad when the client's like, oh, I didn't see you post my client project yet. So yeah, that can happen too.
Oh, really? So they're like, oh, why didn't you post it kind of thing?
Yeah. I've had that happen before.
Yeah, that's tricky. That is tricky.
Yeah, I didn't get around to it yet.
Yeah. So what we found at Wingnut Social is even for interior designers who are newer, who have aspirational work that they want to do, and this happened to me when I had Darla Powell Interiors, and whatever work I posted were the leads that I would get, right? So when I first started as an interior designer, I was posting a lot of DIY stuff because I was thinking, this is what you got to do. You got to have content, a lot of small things. And I would get people wanting to hire me to do small things, right? But it wasn't, and when I started getting bigger projects, renovations, and I had that content to post that, I started getting that. But I still would do some small projects, but, the light bulb went off. Hey, this is a small project. It's not exactly what I want to get down the line. So it's nice. It's great. Happy client, but maybe this isn't going out in the portfolio or on all the channels. So yeah, you can be specific about that. And it's going a call back to niching and having that specific interior design style. And I think, Rashida, you said at the end of the day, it's a business, right? You have to get clients. You have to keep that engine going. So just because you're doing a design project in a style that maybe is all white, Jewel, doesn't mean it has to go on your marketing, because guaranteed, you guys know this, requests. When you put it out there, you're going to get a million more requests for that. So yeah, it is important to be strategic in the aesthetic of your Instagram, your social media marketing. I am very biased towards Instagram. All right. So Evan, we're kind of winding down. We're getting close to the question and answers piece of this live. I wanted to ask you if there's anything else you wanted to add as it pertains to style spotters, interior designers, high point market, or marketing your firm.
I would say use the app. I think the High Point Market Authority app is one of the very best tools. It gives you maps, it gives you vendors, it gives you events. And so I would say if you are brand new or even if you're seasoned to it, I actually just started using it this past April market for the first time. I've been going for like 14 years. It's great. They did a great job. It's easy to navigate.
Yeah, I love the app. It's really good. It doesn't tell you where all the booze is, though, right? You kind of have to find that.
But it tells you where the parties are, and that's where the booze is.
Yeah. If you guys want to party when you're done finding furnishings for your clients or being a style spotter, let me tell you, that's the place to go. It is happening there at High Point Market. Jewel, I'll turn to you. What else would you like to add to this conversation before we get to the questions?
I just think it's a great opportunity to be a style spotter. If you're thinking about applying, definitely apply. You have nothing to lose. And yeah, the app also. Amen to the app also. Fantastic. And I've really enjoyed the opportunity and I've enjoyed getting to meet people. Rashida, we got to hang out a couple times. That was great. Evan, next time we're hanging out, mark your calendar. Yeah, no, I appreciate being here today as well. This is great.
I appreciate having you. Rashida.
I want to say two things. One, when you think about your marketing strategy, you want to think about what's your end goal, right? And so Style Spotters, Insiders Tour, all the high point opportunities are really, I think, geared towards establishing you as an expert in the industry, but also building relationships with brands. But if you're looking to just grow your design firm, maybe those opportunities aren't for you if you're looking to attract clients. The second thing I want to say is I love Instagram, but over the last few years, more and more of my incoming business has come from other sources. And so when I first got started, it was the source for business. And now it's probably about 40% social, 60% other things like Google searches and referrals. So I just wanted to mention that it's one source, but not the source.
I'm glad you mentioned that. Instagram you all are familiar with AI. I'm assuming now, right? ChatGPT has become its own
my best friend
search engine, right? So to your point, your search engine optimization on your website, which is a whole entirely different show, the way your copy is written, your keywords, but also the way your copy is written, your captions are written on social, on Instagram, your keywords on Instagram. ChatGPT is scouring that information. When someone says, recommend me an interior designer in DC, Jewel Marlowe is coming up. That is happening more and more and more. So there is a synergy there. You have to make sure that everything's cohesive, everything's aligned. We have clients, I can't even tell you now, I think we have 10 clients in the last 3 months or so that I've had consultations with who found us on ChatGPT from doing that. So yeah, social media, digital marketing, super important, but you also have to network. You have to go boots on the ground. You have to meet real live human beings and create those connections. And so I do appreciate that. Alrighty, I think we're going to open this up to questions now. Let me see if I can throw this up here and see my questions. Oh, they're teensy. Jennifer Levins says, great points about caption keywords and AI. Thank you so much, Jennifer Levins. I appreciate that. Let's see. Abigail says, how do you balance a client's vision with your own creative intuition? Let's start with Jewel.
That's a good question. It definitely depends on the client, right? Some clients come in and they have 100% trust in you. And whatever you say is golden. And those are awesome clients. Those are so fun to work with because you have a lot of creative liberty. There are other clients that are the exact opposite and they question everything. And those are harder clients.
How do you assert yourself as the expert and the creative behind that to gently reassure your client that this is why they hired you. This is the direction we're going to go in through your experience or what have you. Right.
I mean, that's it. You just have to reassure them by a lot of visuals, a lot of communication, and a lot of hand holding. And even sometimes I've had clients that even though you've done all the things, they still need to feel really good for themselves and ask their sister and their mother's brother whether that's the right choice.
As designers, we are 100% psychologists and marriage counselors.
Oh, marriage counselor for sure.
100%, especially when we're in the renovation phase.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
We're saving marriages one day at a time.
Right.
Thank you.
That's so true. It's so true to be able to take one style and then another style and blend them into an answer that then fits with your aesthetic. It's a real talent, right? It takes experience and
Yeah. Do you remember that show on HGTV? It used to be, it was Designing for the Sexes.
no.
I'm aging myself. Yeah, it was I forget the gentleman's name. He was from England, and he would do that. He would take the wife's style, the husband's style, or the partner style, what have you there, and then just weave it in and have a happy outcome at the end. We're talking like, I don't know, early 2000s. Rashida, how would you answer that question?
I find sometimes, even if I establish myself as the expert and say, trust me on this, it takes a little bit more explanation. So I have it in my head, but I need to share with the client why I selected something. And then once I say I selected this because in the next room over, there's a little bit of this pattern in the drapery, and this is why I tied this in, they're like, oh, okay, I get it. So once I do that once or twice in a project, that's all I got the capacity for. No, that's all. That usually happens if the client's that way a few times early in the project. But once they understand that you are really intentionally thinking about every selection, then they sort of back off.
Evan?
I think going back to consistency again, like we spoke about earlier, I think it's about consistency. And then at the same time, reminding our clients and reminding your clients why we are making that decision as the expert and why they hired us. I think it's so easy for a client to say and to share what their needs and their desires and their dreams and their functionality and their color palettes. It's so easy for them to say that on the front end, but then when you're like 6 months in and they don't have a living room and they don't have a kitchen and and it's just like a hot mess. It's just so important for us just to always go back and say, this is why it's worth the wait. It's worth the investment. It's going to be okay. You'll cry today, but you'll smile tomorrow.
I always used to tell my clients, you love me now. You love me now, but there's going to come a time in the middle of this that you're going to be a little agitated. I promise you, it's all going to come together and you're going to love me again at the end. All right. Whitney's asking, this is a good one. What's a trend that you wish would come back or go away forever, Rashida?
I don't know. Who said it earlier? Like designers, we like a little bit of everything, but I don't love farmhouse. So
live, laugh, love. Come
on, those, get it out of here. So yeah, I think farmhouse. And as much as I actually do design a lot in neutrals, I like to make sure that there's pattern in my neutrals, texture, there's soul, there's like depth and warmth. And so I think those like cold, gray, white, flat spaces, I hope that goes away.
All right, Evan.
Neon signs. I think I'm over them, and I hope they go away forever.
And graffiti walls.
And murals. I think coming from Nashville, we have a mural on every building. And when a mural is used to cover up poor craftsmanship and poor buildings, it's a problem.
Is that what they do with it?
It's exactly what it's used for in Nashville.
Oh, really?
Like we slap a Dolly on it. We all love Dolly, but...
Dolly Parton has the highest Q rating of any celebrity. I found that out. I was listening to an NPR thing, you see.
What?
Okay, here's another question. Macon ask, what part of the design process do you wish clients understood better or valued more, Evan?
Professional receiving and inspection.
Oh, yes.
And delivery. It is such an investment and quite costly at times, but it is worth every single penny.
Yeah, that is a hard one to convey. Mm-hmm. Jewel?
I think a client has no idea how much time I spend sourcing and finding the right product. They think that I Google search it and I have it in 5 minutes, right? That they don't know that I could spend hours, days trying to find that sideboard that is the exact length, not 1 inch too long, not 1 inch too short, not too narrow. And they'll never know that. I mean, I can tell them, they wouldn't believe me if I told them how long it took. So that not just the conceptual design, but the execution of that conceptual design, it's fine. It's a secret that I'll just carry to my grave that they'll never understand.
Rashida.
I would say the construction process, and how long that really takes the time, the attention to detail. I work with my husband, he's a contractor, and so we do quite a bit of construction. And, about 3/4 of the way through is when the demeanors start to change a little bit because everyone's ready for it to be done. So, yeah, that's it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me. I want to thank High Point Market for helping me to put this together, and Rashida Gray, Evan Millard, and Jewel Marlowe. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I'm going to have to go to High Point in the fall and just kind of see you guys live and in action. It's been a minute since I've been, but I need to go back, and it's wonderful. And if you're an interior designer out there and you're kicking the can and I'm not sure if it's worth it, if I should go to High Point, go once. Just go once and you'll go all the time. It's such a game changer. It makes such an impact in you, your mindset, your knowledge base for your craft, for the life, the business you've chosen. You have to go. All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
You've reached the end of this episode of Designed by Wingnut Social. But that's only the first step into accelerating your business the Wingnut way. Head over to wingnutsocial.com or call us at 786-206-4331 to see how we can help take your business from meh to amazing. We'll see you on the next episode of Designed by Wingnut Social, your digital marketing tightly fastened.
I do this 2 times a week every day, and I'm nervous. Do you guys experience that at all or no?
Oh,
Probably
sure.
not.
Yeah.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah. I keep telling myself it helps me to get it's energy, so it's going in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or picture the audience naked.